Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Gomez and I'm coming to you from my home where we're all safe at home right now, and I'm going to give you week 1. Every week I'm going to come to you and I'm going to give you something fun to do and we can play together. So today we're going to try a little treasure hunt, but in this treasure hunt you have got to make sure that anything you find in this treasure hunt, you ask your grown-ups at your house for permission to use these things, because in the next few weeks we're going to play things together, but we don't have the instruments from school. So we need to find things in our house that we can use. So if you look over here, these are things that look familiar. This is my bucket for bucket drumming. I've got my bucket and my sticks. Now in your house, your dad might have this in his garage, but our garage is kind of a scary place. I wouldn't go there by myself. I definitely have to take my grown-up with me and ask if I can use one of those things, because there's some things in there we don't want to use. Now, if I have a bucket like this, I can make this into a drum. We do this in our music room, so I can tip it over. But I may not have sticks like this. But you might even be able to on this beautiful day to find sticks outside that might work with this bucket. So this is something that you can try to look for, but you don't have to. I found that we had a little bucket just like this in our garage, and I found 2 of these fly swatters. Now, your fly swatter might be used and that could be kind of gross. So you got to ask mom and dad if you're going to use something like that. And I can use them in different ways. I can tip this bucket over and I can tap this way. I can tap it the other way. I can hold this in. So there's lots of fun ways that you can use this type of a bucket. And fly swatters, if they're clean. Now, this was our kid stick bucket. Now, this is what we had at school, but a lot of these things you can find at home. So if you look at this, in our kid stick bucket, I have a cutting board. And guess what? I found a cutting board at my house. Now, it doesn't look the same. Mine's in the shape of an apple, but this will work great too. But again, ask your moms and dads before you take anything out of the kitchen. So I can do that. And then we had sticks. I've got to figure out some way that I can create a drum, but I've got to figure out some sticks. And I'll show you in just a second what I found at my house. Now, we may not have anything that jingles yet, but we're going to maybe practice that a little later when we make some instruments. But this one is a can. Now, he's a big can we got from Miss Jan in the cafeteria, but if we just flip it over, we can do the same thing we do at school with a tiny can in our pantry. It doesn't even have to be empty. I'll show you that in a second too. Let's move over here. All of these things I found in my kitchen. Now, these are things that probably aren't going to break and they aren't really important in my kitchen, so these will be great for me to use in my music playground. Now, this is just a lid that I found, and if I take this lid and put it down here, I can use things like, look what I found, straws. I found 2 straws in my cupboard. I can play on this one. Those will work as little sticks. I also found some spatulas. That will work. They're a little louder because they're bigger. The bigger things you find, the louder they're going to be. I can also play on this, remember, our cutting board. And I also found I could use spoons. I found 2 spoons in my cupboard, and they're not going to break. And you can hold those either way. I can also hold them by the little round part and play this way. I went into the cupboard and I also found some Tupperware that we don't have to use. So if I turn this one over like this, then I can take some of these to play as a drum. I went to my craft room. I have a wonderful craft room. It's where all the creating happens for music and these props that we use. So I found some of these sticks, and guess what else I found? Chopsticks. These will work also that you can use as drumsticks. Then in my cupboard, guess what? Plastic cups. You can use plastic cups as a drum, and you don't really need sticks for these if you don't want to. You can use your hand, but when you use these other types of sticks that you found, they will make great sound. And we can use the sides like bucket drumming. On this one, it's just another lid that I found. And on this one, it's a bigger Tupperware, so if I turn this over, I've got a drum again. Now look what I found in my pantry. I had to go in there too because I thought, what if I don't find any of these things? I can use things that aren't even used by my family yet. This is a can and it's not even open yet. Now, I would have to ask my mom if I wanted to tear off the sides so I can make it scrape. Because once you tear off that label, Mom doesn't know what's on here anymore and it's just like a surprise. So you want to make sure you ask before you take off a label. But I could do this one too, and I can scrape it on the sides. This is a macaroni and cheese box. I can use this, of course, as a shaker because it's not open. I could also tip it over. If you look down here, I can play on here. Now you don't want to hit that one too hard because it is cardboard. So, you know, it might end up breaking. So make sure you have permission to use that too. I also found this. This is just some lemon and iced tea mix. And this is a perfect drum. If I hit any of these things too hard with the wrong things, it might end up damaging something that your mom and dad still need. So you got to make sure that you talk to them about that. We also found a Pringle can. This will work great too. A tall drum. So try to look around your whole house and see what you can use. All of these things that I have on the table came from my house, except for this huge can. This came from Miss Jan, but you might be able to find little cans that you can use too. So next week when I come with you, hopefully you have found something that you can use as a drum, because we're going to use food for us that we find in our house to actually make some rhythms. It's going to be a great time. I miss you guys so much. Have fun with your treasure hunt, and remember, ask Mom and Dad.